We're making granola today. 1 cup of butter is melted, to which is added 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of honey. In a bowl, I take 8 cups of oats, and here I've added some slivered almonds. I preheat my oven to 300 degrees. Here I'm melting the 1 cup of butter, the 1 cup of brown sugar, and 1 cup of honey together and stirring. I'm over medium to low heat. We have substituted coconut oil in the past successfully. I wouldn't recommend substituting only honey, as honey's hygroscopic and it gets really sticky. But I'm sure you could play around with some things. In fact, when I was recording this, I was thinking I'd like to try it with maple syrup. I might post about that over in TikTok land, so if you're interested to following over there, go ahead. I'm at Muse Pottery and I'll put a link below. To the brown sugar and honey and butter, we have added vanilla in the past, but we didn't find that it really imparts a great flavor to the vanilla, to the granola after all. I'm stirring and you can see some bubbling occurring. What our goal here is to kind of homogenize what's going on in the pan and to melt the brown sugar. Here I'm mixing in the oats in with the slivered almonds. I didn't have any flax seeds, so I didn't add that. We've added flaxseed, chia seeds, and things like that. When we add dried fruit or chocolate chips or something like really fancy like that to our granola, we go ahead and do that after it comes out of the oven and cools down a bit. Otherwise, it's a little too, can burn, and obviously the chocolate would melt in the oven. And if that's not what you're going for, that's not what you want. And burnt raisins don't really taste good anyhow. So now you're going to take your melted mixture and pour it in. You're going to ignore my giant hunks of butter that didn't melt. And yours is not going to look like this at all. You're going to melt your butter down. Or you could do it that way and just stir it and it all works out in the end. Anyhow, so we pour this in. You'll notice my daughter decided to shoot this in slow motion. We do these types of videos together and I allow her to have the creative liberties. She was really into slow-mo this week that we shot this footage. So I add that all in there, and then I'm stirring to combine. I wouldn't recommend having little hands help at this part because it smells really sweet and delicious, because it is, but it's really piping hot and you could get hurt. So just be cautious. Use common sense. I use a nonstick cooking spray on my baking sheet. I don't recommend lining it in foil unless you're interested in picking little pieces of foil that have stuck to the little individual oats out of your granola. If that's something you're into, then by all means line it with foil. I've lined it with parchment paper, but I find I get little pieces of oats that stick under. So it's just as easy for me to spray the whole darn thing in nonstick cooking spray and go on about my day. You're going to put it in the oven and set your timer for about 35 minutes. That's your goal, but sometimes and some days it takes longer. Spread it out evenly on the pan after you've stirred it all well together to combine. And you're going to open the oven, take the tray out, and gently stir it on the tray to kind of get that golden brown and deliciousness everywhere. I got this recipe from a wife of someone I was in an organization with. This was the best thing to come out of 2 years of my dedicated time to said organization. I don't know what that says. This is either the best granola recipe you're ever going to find, or I colossally wasted a lot of time during that 2-year period. But I digress. Back to the slow motion food porn of stirring. Make sure you really combine this well. You're getting the nutty flavor of both the brown sugar and the honey all over the oats. You don't want any dry oats. This is it spread out here. I've set my timer for 35 minutes. I think we ended up taking ours out at 40 minutes. I used the time to organize my recipes, and I managed to find that I had a really good recipe for pate. I don't eat pate as I don't like liver, but I have a pretty stellar recipe for one. If you're interested in it, I would like to make it for a video going forward. I think it would be kind of fun, but that's why we have the video anyway. Footage of me cleaning this up. My daughter thought it was funny. Here I mixed some topping to go with the granola, and we put it in with fresh yogurt in little dishes to serve as a treat for everybody at the house. Hope you enjoy.